I want to tackle today the controversial subject of dupe perfumes from the perspective of an independent perfumer. But I think before starting, it's important for me to define what I understand is a dupe fragrance, because there are many interpretations, and I feel like the term is being used very loosely. So for me, what a dupe is a fragrance that is specifically created to mimic a very popular one and that leverages the success of another fragrance to be able to sell their own product. So anything that will have, may have their own creative name, but under it, they may have our version of XYZ or our impression of. That to me is what a dupe is. So any fragrances that are following a trend, like for example in the 90s when all these fragrances started using the material of cologne because it was really popular, that to me is a trend. Or if, let's say, the type of amber florals are in, so then everyone is kind of doing that, that to me also is a trend. Or any skin scents that become popular, that's a trend. And I think it's also important to make the distinction between what is a trend and what is copying. And to create an equivalency, a good example in fashion of a trend is, for example, that whole monologue of cerulean blue or, grunge style in the 90s. That's a trend. So my position when it comes to dupes is I personally really dislike them. And I'm coming at it from the artist's perspective as an indie perfumer who has studied in perfumery, who has studied my material, and am sort of developing my own signature. And, it's ongoing. This takes years. I'm moving into year 5, and I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey. So for me, any brand who makes it their entire personality and business model to copy other brands is sort of where art goes to die, in my opinion. In each one of those bottles, I think that in each one of those bottles, art goes to die. And I understand a lot of people out there see perfume as more of a commodity than art, but again, I'm coming from the standpoint of an artist. And I know a lot of people that are using the argument and seeing these brands as playing a role of, being Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving back to the general public. But I gotta tell you, and I recorded another video about this, these dupe brands actually affect small players like me as well. If I'm at a market selling my perfumes, I can predict that if I'm going to do well or not. If there's the presence of a small dupe brand, I cannot compete against a small dupe brand that's beside me that is selling knockoffs of Tom Ford. I can't compete against Tom Ford, so I purposely go in places where I'm not going to be in direct competition with Chanel, Tom Ford, but their presence creates that. They actually undercut even the small guys just by being there. And the thing is that the general public doesn't see the difference between what I do and a dupe brand. A dupe brand, all they have to do is buy the oils pre-made from different vendors, and then all they're doing is mixing it and putting it into bottles. That's all they do. There's no composition. There's no, they didn't have to create anything. They're just buying, mixing, and selling. By the way, you guys could just buy the oil yourself and do it for even cheaper than the dupe brands. FYI, you can have a lifetime supply for the same price as you pay one of their bottles, by the way. And here's another thing. A lot of people argue that, it's kind of like an act of rebellion against larger corporations to buy a dupe because you're kind of undercutting a Chanel or you're undercutting Tom Ford. Or any one of these niche brands that sell their bottles really expensive. But what's really, really badass is not playing that game. The only reason you want the dupe is because the original company who created that fragrance was really successful in creating a need in you. What's a true badass move and what's a true act of rebellion, in my opinion, is just not playing the designer game. So whether you're buying a dupe or the original fragrance, you are playing into that marketing game. So my recommendation is to not play that game and to support an indie brand. Doesn't have to be mine. There are so many indie brands out there. In your way, you'll be doing an act of protest and you will be supporting a small brand with original ideas. Because in going out of your way to defend dupe brands, what exactly are we doing here? We're defending mediocrity and plagiarism? Is that really what we're doing today? I mean, this debate alone is a little bit ridiculous to me because why would we want to defend that? There are better ways. There are better ways to invest our money and to support creatives without breaking the bank. And I think deep down inside, everybody knows this, and all of you watching know this, that plagiarism is not a great thing. We learned this in school, and if our parents taught us well, they've taught us that too. So really, why are we arguing about this? You know what I think is happening? I think it's that people are arguing it because they're trying to rationalize internally bad behavior that they may be supporting. It's subconscious, but maybe people are trying to reconcile the fact that they're supporting something that inherently we know is not right. So bottom line is, if you find a perfume bottle is priced way too expensive and out of your range, don't buy it. Keep in mind that you are worth more than the scent that you're wearing. You don't need that scent. And by association, you don't need the scent offered by the dupe brand who is also doing it in a shady way. There's another alternative if you still want to smell good and enjoy a nice scent, and that is to encourage an indie brand and a fragrance company that makes original scents. Companies that don't steal fragrances from others and that do original work. At the end of the day, you're going to feel better about yourself because you're supporting true craftsmanship and artistry. You won't have to defend a position that supports plagiarism. And you're going to have a fragrance that you truly enjoy that's based on your own personal taste and not based on other people's expectations. Because that's what we're doing when we're buying fragrances for status. You're subconsciously living up to other people's expectations. And, in 2025, aren't we tired of it? I'm tired of living up to other people's expectations, and I know that I don't need to spray $300 or $500 worth of fragrance to feel good inside about myself. You don't need to do that. You're worth so much more. It's just a fragrance, and without it, you're still worth more.